So hey, what is up guys? This is going to be a quick overview of the project EcoTech that I have developed alongside with Rohin Bhatt. He's one of my friends. I'll put a link to his portfolio in the description. So we have developed this project for the WCE Hackathon and we ended up winning the hackathon. So let's just jump right into it. So I'll just quit out of this presentation. This was the one that we made for the hackathon. So let's jump right into the code and the actual working. So first of all, we have created a monorepo. So as you can see, this is a monorepo and we have just accumulated everything that we have developed into this repo while maintaining the commits that we had in the individual repos. So that is a very interesting thing that I found out. Like we had that requirement and we were able to do that thing. That is merging the code into a single repo. So yeah, that is a pretty interesting thing. I think I'll make a separate video on that. So yeah, so first of all, let's jump into the app. So in the course of the hackathon, we were able to develop this application, and this is solely developed by Rohin Bhatt. So this is a Flutter based application and he has recorded this thing. So I'll just play it. So first of all, you have this onboarding screen. You can log in. So we have just directly logged in. This is the register, but we'll log in first. So this is a pre-made user. And once we log in, we have a dashboard. So we'll just see that dashboard, and also there's a report button. I'm just saying all of this because it'll just be very fast. The transition is very fast. So yeah, so there's a report website button. He clicks on it and he's redirected to a particular selection area, and then you can just report that e-waste and also add in a waste type. So it is a keyboard, so we just send the report, and then whether it is successful or not, we just get the report directly. So it was successfully submitted and you're back to home. So this was the entire flow for the application. You also get various stats on the dashboard. Now we also had an admin dashboard, so I'll just add in the credentials for the admin. I hope I remember those. So I'll log in. Yep, I remembered. So basically you get access to all of the metrics that are there, and some of these metrics are actually dummy metrics because we were not able to generate this functionality, especially the transaction one. But yeah, the recyclers, reports and users are all like properly fed in, and also the waste that is collected. So you also get graphs that are plotted for visual information. So this is the admin side of the application. Now let's jump to the recyclers part of the application. I'll also brief you about the actual idea about the application, but for now I'll just walk you around. So recycler 1, and I hope it logs in. Yeah, so basically this is a recycler's dashboard, and the recycler gets all of the waste that has been reported and has been classified as e-waste by the ML classifier. And if it is classified, then the reporter gets the location of the waste, and once the reporter gets the waste, he can either unapprove the waste, because let's be honest over here, the ML model can mess up classification, and hence there's one more layer of this this recycler, and he can also change up the type of the waste. So we have got these types, and then yeah, you get the time that is reported on, and you can pick it up. So if it is unapproved, you still have to what do you call it, you have to click on pick up, but it will unapprove that thing. So this is the recycler's dashboard. So the recycler will be able to basically collect the waste. So these were the three main parts of the application. Now we've also integrated Swagger. So this endpoint basically gives us the entire structure of the application and the APIs of the backend. So I have divided this backend into separate microservices. I've used Django for the backend, and yeah, so there is clear separation with respect to what the usage is. So all the mobile app APIs are segregated under one application, then dashboard is segregated into another, recyclers into another, and there's one single authentication sorry, so one single authentication endpoint. So yeah, so now let us jump into the admin. So this is the Django admin, and as you can see from this also, there's a clear separation of models. Now jumping to the UI prototypes. So we had initially developed UI prototypes. So these are 100% done by Rohin, and he created these things during the ideation phase. And then during the actual development phase, we replicated these, and we have almost tried to replicate them one to one. So this was the pre-preparation, you can say, the ideation phase, and this was the user flow that I had created for the application as to how the actual functioning of the application would be from the different perspectives. We ended up adding the recycler's dashboard and the actual role of the recycler in runtime. So like we just came up with it after the idea submission phase and during the development phase, because we thought that might be useful. So this dashboard has actually been designed in runtime, and also the idea for that has come in runtime. Then I have done the backend for the application, and the backend has been configured to be run on Kubernetes, like a Kubernetes cluster, because it gives massive scalability. So although it is not deployed on Kubernetes because we didn't have the right capital to do that, but I've just configured it. So as you can see, this is the Kubernetes dashboard, and you can see the EcoTech server is running. This is the deployment, and there's a pod in which the container of the application is running. And yeah, here you can see I am accessing that particular application, and this is the Swagger. So basically we have deployed this thing in production. This is Swagger in production, and this is Swagger on local machine, basically running on Minikube node, so Kubernetes node. And yeah, so this is the browser session for the dashboard, and as you can see I've applied these Kubernetes configurations over here, and I've also like boiled it down to scripts, so that if anyone wants to start up this application on their own machine, it becomes easier because they just need to run this configuration this shell script, and they don't need to actually run the Kubernetes commands. So I've kind of abstracted those. Now also let's jump into the ML model. So the ML model was kind of a bouncer for us because me and Rohin, both of us don't have any experience in ML as such. We have actually taken up one class of data science and big data analytics. That was this semester, current semester, that is third year, second semester. So we had a brief idea of classification. So we knew that we had to run a classifier, but actually the problem was that we were thinking of classifying e-waste, and that is the only class that we know, and the other things should be classified as not e-waste. So that was a bit of a curveball for us. So what we ended up doing was that we took up a database, a data set for electronic items, random electronic items. As you can see, this is a Dell laptop, and there was some random images that we found. So that is how we came up with the database, the data set. And for the not e-waste part, what I did was that I just took random scenery images and just labeled them as not e-waste, and then run the classifier. So yeah, it is not the best classifier, but yeah, we were just figuring out, and that was a makeshift arrangement that we made. That was in runtime completely during the development phase, so we just went ahead with it, and it worked okay-ish. It can be way better, and also there are many scenarios that are actually just missed out because it's scenery versus keyboards and mouses, but there is a lot more to e-waste than that, and also a lot more to the world than just sceneries. So yeah, so it can be a lot better, but this is what we just did in runtime. So yeah, so this is the application. Now let's also try to look at the code structure. So basically we have this mono repo that is there. So we have got the backend code over here along with all of the configurations. It is dockerized, and also we have configured Kubernetes. And then this is the EcoTech classifier, that is the ML model. Then this is the dashboard. So we have written the dashboard in Next.js. Then the recyclers, and at the end we have the front end. So the front end was done by Rohin. The backend classifier and the dashboards were done by me. Rohin also did the UI UX designing. I did the deployment part of it and the MLOps. So by MLOps, what do I exactly mean? So basically, once you have the model ready, you have to have a way in which you can deploy the model so that it can be used. So I basically this was my first time doing ML operations. So yeah, so the main task was to use this model into a production server, right? So basically what I ended up doing was that I stored the binary object of the what do you call it, the train model, and then I just loaded it in runtime. Although there was a problem, the free tier of Heroku has a certain limit, so I was crossing that limit while I was including this model. So hence I just pushed it over to a different branch during the actual production. Pushing it to production. So it is not a live feature, but it is an implemented feature on a different branch. So if you go to the backend repository, you will get to know what I'm talking about. So this has been a very brief overview of the EcoTech project as a whole. Me and Rohin have also written a blog on this thing. So this is Rohin's blog, so from his perspective, and also like over here we have just added hyperlinks to each other. So my friend, and that points to my portfolio. So I'll just quickly go to my Medium article. I've opened up his article. I'll just open up mine as well. So yeah, so this is the blog that I've written. So yeah, so it just basically discusses about how we started up, how we planned things, and yeah, basically the general conclusion of the project. And we've also added a system architecture diagram for clearly representing what the components of the application are, and also link the GitHub repository. There's a link to this video as well. This was a video that we had created during the idea submission days. This was during the second phase, that is the second round, after we got selected and after we developed the project. So we had to submit a demonstration of the working project. So this was done for that thing. So yeah, so that pretty much sums everything up. So this was a very interesting project to work on. This was the first time that like I implemented ML into a project, as well as configure it for deployment. So now I know what I need to do for integrating ML models and also creating one for projects. So yeah, it was a great learning experience. We got to like create a proper application in a very short amount of time, and that was an amazing experience. So yeah, so this has been EcoTech, and yeah, so that is it. Thanks for watching. Peace out.